What if explaining why you're chasing after your dreams is actually pushing your family further away?
It's a good question. Hey, everybody. My name is Bill Fischer.
And I'm Kimberly Fischer.
And this is When Your Partner is Your Partner. And what we talk about on this podcast is the struggles that we have as couples who work together, play together, and live together. And when there's no degree of separation and there's no possibility for us to get away from each other, to miss each other, it tends to bring a lot of stress in the home, in the business, and in our lives, just in general. And this whole podcast is to maybe offer a glimmer of hope and some suggestions to make your life a little bit easier and more pleasurable to be around each other.
Yeah, because honestly, marriage is super awesome. And we are benefiting from the fact that we've learned how to do business with each other. And we want to see you all also have that same experience and be able to do this well. And today's topic is about it's actually about other people, not just us, the struggle that we have with each other, but sometimes we have struggle with family and loved ones that are near us that don't understand why we are business owners to begin with. They don't understand why we're driven to do what we're doing. And tell me a little bit about why you are a business owner. What is the purpose behind you being so driven to do what you do?
Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story how I grew up. I grew up very poor. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. And when I say very poor, we never knew we were poor until somebody told us we were poor. And the reason is because I would have never known that it's not normal to have pancakes every day for dinner for a week or whatever the case, because that's all you can afford. I didn't know that the free cheese line was a bad thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but what I am saying is there's different opportunities, there's different choices that you can make during life. And we spent a lot of time in the WIC line. We were using food stamps, so on and so forth. And let me tell you, it's not because my dad wasn't a solid worker and he had a great work ethic. He went to work every single day. We just never made enough money. And as a matter of fact, I remember some of the most hurtful days in my life growing up were in high school, and I hated it because we were poor and we didn't have as much money as a lot of the rich kids, and they would make fun of me all the time. And they used to call me scumbag because I had like holes in my pants and things like that. When most of my clothes were hand-me-downs. I wore a lot of my brother's clothes. Even wore a lot of his underwear, hand-me-down underwear, which is gross to think about now. But we did what we had to do to get by. But when the kids started making fun of me and calling me those names and putting me in like this automatic lower class, there was something in me that said, I never want to be here anymore. And when I realized that it was a choice, that was a game changer for me, because when I realized my financial position was a choice that I had to make if I was going to stay there or if I was going to break out. And I decided to break out. I started businesses. I mowed lawns. I shoveled driveways. I raked leaves. Any job that I can get. I was working 1 to 2 jobs all the time. And I'm talking from 12 years old. Anytime anyone would let me work, I would bring money home to the family. I would help contribute for groceries, so on and so forth. And this was a work ethic that I built into myself. And I made a promise to myself when I had kids, I was never going to allow them to feel what I felt. I never wanted them to feel that pain, that they hated their life because that the way that other people made them feel because of their income bracket.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I believe that I kept very true to that promise. Mm-hmm. And you also had a rough past.
Yeah. I was homeless at 11 years old, and I have lived in foster care and shelters and things like that. And so for me also, I felt that same desire that I don't ever want to be in this place again. I want to be in control of my freedom and my future, and I want to create something so amazing that it brings other people with. And so we have a fire in us. We have a desire to do great things. We have a desire to bring other people with us and to build amazing things. And so we're just not wired. We're not wired to be the typical work 9 to 5, 40 hours a week kind of person. We're wired to do more. And one of the things that we realized just recently is that I think we have about 65 families that are able to collect a paycheck and feed their families and go home and pay their rent because we have a desire to create more. Because it wasn't ever really just about me and you. It was never really about, I don't want to feel this way again. It really was, I want to do more so that others don't have to feel this way.
Right.
And, interestingly, we wanted to make sure our children never had to feel what it felt like to be hungry. And we did. I remember when my son was cleaning the kitchen after dinner one time, he threw away an entire stick of butter. And I almost lost my mind because I thought to myself, why would you do that? That is so wasteful. I can't believe you butter of all the things to throw away, butter. And in his mind, to his credit, he was like, it's butter. We have 6 more sticks in the butter in the fridge. I don't understand what the big deal is, but butter's expensive. And so
real butter.
Yeah, it was like, that was a really big expense that you didn't even care about that you just threw away. And that's a testament to that we actually did a really good job of making sure our kids never really knew what it's like to do without.
But
yeah,
we may have done them a slight disservice.
Right. Because we read this book one time called Doing Life with Your Adult Children, and he made this really good comment. He said, your children will never know how far the town is if you carry them on your back.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably carried our children on our back quite a bit. And so they may never understand that hunger to create. And I think they do. I think our kids are pretty amazing. They're all doing really amazing things with their life. But interestingly, people that are near us, friends, family, loved ones, when they see what we're doing, some of them, they don't like it and they'll say something. And sometimes they'll say things like, I don't understand what you're doing. One person said to me one time, are you trying to be a billionaire? And I automatically, without even thinking, said, why not? Because it's not about the money. It's about what I'm creating with that money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about working all the time. It's about all the lives that we're impacting and that we're changing.
And a sense of purpose.
Yeah, because of what we are doing. But here's the thing. People that don't have that hunger inside of them, they're never going to understand that.
Yeah. I have a buddy who was a raging alcoholic. And I asked him one time, I was like, bro, why can't you just have a couple of drinks like the rest of us and just feel good and shut it off without going to a path of total destruction and destroying every part of your life every time you drink? I said, I just don't understand. And he said, you know what, Bill, you're right. You will never understand. You're not me and you're not wired the way that I am. And there's never a part of this that I hope you ever understand.
Yeah.
But having said that, from an entrepreneur's spirit and mind to somebody who maybe is like, I enjoy punching a clock and turning it off at 5 o'clock. Here's the difference with that is that when you're a creator and you are somebody who is building businesses and creating jobs for other people and changing lives and changing the world, and your goal is to change the environment around you, it doesn't shut off at 5 o'clock.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't. As a matter of fact, it's in your dreams.
Yeah.
You sleep about it. You wake up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning, stressing about
solving
all
problems.
of the families that are dependent on you and whatever the case. And so your drive is to make the world a better place, not to shut off at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of people just don't understand that if that's not you, it's okay.
It is.
It's really okay because we're all needed. Every single one of us are needed in every single aspect. But don't be mad at us if at 10 o'clock at night, we're still talking about work or we're still doing it or we're still grinding, because these people also are needed. These people,
Sure.
The ones that are creating the jobs, they are needed. They have to work around the clock so you don't have to.
Okay. So the people that are listening are probably business owners. So we're really preaching to the choir, right? We all agree with that. You should understand. But really, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're probably never going to understand how that brain works and why we don't ever stop. As a matter of fact, yesterday I took a nap, and when I woke up, I had solved a problem. And I came in and told you, I was like, look at what I just woke up and I thought of this thing. And I just think being wired like that is pretty awesome. But at the same time, I can't get people that are not wired like me to understand. So how do I do life with them? How do I respond when they say, what are you trying to do? Be a billionaire?
Mm-hmm.
How do you respond to that? Well, you have to look at it with the way that they're looking at it.
Mm-hmm. So here's something that you can do. Instead of taking offense when someone comes to you and they say, "What are you trying to be?" or whatever the case, or they name call you, or they say something bad about you, or all you care about is money, or you
You're
don't
doing
care
too
about
much.
your
You don't
family, or
understand.
you're doing way too much, or it's all about success to you, or whatever, right? Stop, do not respond.
Mhm.
Take 5 seconds, and instead of taking offense, what I want you to do is think about this. Find the pain. What is the message that they're trying to tell you? Are they really saying to you, I don't feel important enough, or I feel like your work is more important than I am to you? And try and understand that maybe that's really what they're trying to say.
Yeah. It's not that they're mad that you're creating. It's not that they're mad that you have the ambition. It's the story that they're telling themselves because you have ambition. It's a story that they're telling themselves because you are working so much.
Mhm.
And sometimes that story is, I don't have value and I don't matter.
Yep.
And what you're doing is more important than I am. And that we can respond to. So I always have these 2 questions that I ask myself, and they are, what can I control and what needs to be true? In every situation, what can I control? Can I control how the other person feels? No. Can I control how they think? Nope. And honestly, I probably will never get them to understand where I'm coming from, but I can control how I show up. And if I listen to what they're really trying to say to me, which is I don't feel like I'm important, then I can show up and say, you are important. And let me show you how I'm going to make sure that I make an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, there's also people out there that are haters. And here's what I have to say about that. Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
Suck it, B.
You can't control other people. You can only control yourself. And so, you need to understand when criticism is trying to help you or it's trying to hurt you. And oftentimes people, when you are trying to elevate and you're trying to become better and do greater things, it makes them uncomfortable because they aren't. And so they'll criticize you for that because they want to pull you back down to where they are at instead of letting you elevate. And you're right. And sometimes you just have to
say, suck it, B.
Yeah, let haters be haters and ignore it. What's interesting is criticism from a stranger is easier for me to dismiss than it is from someone that I love.
Mm-hmm.
So that stop, it's not easy. It's not easy to say, I'm going to stop and take 5 seconds because inside, I just want to be super offended. Like, how dare you? Do you not see what I've been through? Do you not see where I've come from? You grew up with me. You know me. You know the life. You've heard the stories. It's hard to not take offense, but we cannot control how other people see. We don't get to control their narratives or the stories that they're telling themselves. All we can do is go, where's the pain? Okay, I'm going to address the pain, not what you're actually talking about. I'm going to say, you matter. You're important to me. And I love you. And we're going to get through this.
Mm-hmm. And now the wraparound. Now, we were talking about family members, but now let's talk about us. Mm-hmm. Very briefly, what I want you to realize is that this is all just about relationships. This is the most important relationship, but this problem comes up in our relationship a lot. And instead of taking offense when she comes at me and says, you always, you never, whatever the case, I need to stop. I need to find the pain. Where is the pain? What is she talking about? Where is this coming from? I know the words that she's saying, but what's the feeling underneath those words? Because if I try and understand that, we're going to be so much closer instead of me taking offense.
Yeah.
So try that this week.
Yeah, you're not arguing the facts. You're recognizing that there's feelings there, and that you can address.
Yeah. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us again on When Your Partner is Your Partner. And next week, we will be talking about sex. I say that every week, and we never do. So hopefully one day we're going to.
We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. If this has helped you, we would love it if you would give us a like, a share, or send it to somebody that you think could really benefit from this episode. We're grateful, and we'll see you next time.